Okay, hello everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Amy and I am part of the education team here at Childnet, part of the UK Safer Internet Centre.
And my name is Rosie, and I'm also part of the team at Childnet. We are so pleased to have some time today to tell you all a bit more about the upcoming Safer Internet Day celebrations, including all of the resources available to help you run activities in your school or youth group setting.
And also on the session today, we have Dana Henderson from Edinburgh Learns Digital and Scott Hunter from Education Scotland, who will be sharing more about Safer Internet Day celebrations in Scotland specifically. So before we get started, we want to let you know that you can submit questions via the Q&A, and we will be leaving some time at the end of today's 30-minute session to make sure we can answer those. But for now, in our work with the Childnet education team, a really big part of our job is travelling to schools all around the country. We talk to children aged 3 to 18 years old, parents, carers, and professionals about internet safety. So everyone in the team here comes from that kind of education background, and we know firsthand how valuable your time is and probably how many plates you've got to keep spinning. So our aim today is to tell you everything that you need to know about the upcoming Safer Internet Day campaign, and most importantly, to signpost you to the various resources that are available to get involved completely for free. So Safer Internet Day is a global campaign. It is celebrated in over 100 different countries every single year, and it normally falls on a Tuesday in early February. So this year, Safer Internet Day will be celebrated, as you can see from your screens, on Tuesday, the 11th of February, 2025. And here in the UK, the day is coordinated by the UK Safer Internet Centre. That is a partnership between three organisations: Childnet, the IWF, or the Internet Watch Foundation, and SWGFL, the Southwest Grid for Learning. It's really worth checking out each of those organisations individually because they all offer different resources and support available for you in your role.
For Safer Internet Day, we want to inspire a national conversation about using technology responsibly, respectfully, critically, and creatively, empowering children and young people to speak up about their digital lives, and empowering adults to engage and listen to develop a deeper understanding of young people's experiences. Last year, the campaign reached over half of children and young people in the UK, and a third of UK parents and carers. This was only possible thanks to the incredible support from schools, youth groups, libraries, police forces, charities, government, and the internet industry.
So why should you and your pupils participate in Safer Internet Day? Well, every year we run a survey after the day to gauge the impact the campaign can have. Last year, 77% of the young people we spoke to said that they felt more confident about what to do if something is worrying them online as a result of the day. And furthermore, kind of 31% told us that they had spoken to a parent or carer about something that had been worrying them online after hearing about the day. And we also spoke to parents and carers themselves about their experiences of the day. 72% of them told us they had talked to their child about using the internet safely.
And perhaps most notably, 53% of the educators we surveyed after the day said the conversations started by the campaign led to disclosures about child protection issues online. That's a lot of young people getting support and advice who otherwise might have been facing that problem on their own. We know that participating in Safer Internet Day, raising the profile of cyber resilience and internet safety, and starting those conversations about life online can have a very real and very important impact for the children and young people that you work with.
But I am sure that you don't need us to tell you the importance of all of this. The internet and technology is a huge part of all of our lives, including children and young people. And whilst we know that can bring opportunities, excitement, and so many other positives, there are always going to be risks. And of course, as professionals, we all have that duty of care to safeguard the young people we work with. And I'm sure that you will all agree that internet safety is a vital part of this.
We also know lots of you are already doing amazing work in this space, whether you're delivering messages during literacy, health and wellbeing, or assemblies, or have a comprehensive whole school approach. We feel confident that Safer Internet Day has a role to play. It's not about delivering all your internet safety messages in one day, but we do see it as a great opportunity to engage young people with the topic and to keep it at the forefront of everyone's minds. It's a chance to celebrate technology and the opportunities it can offer, whilst also starting important conversations about young people's online experiences that can continue all year long.
I will also say it's also really good fun, and participating means joining in with thousands of other schools all across the country. So, whatever your role, we have resources to help you get involved with the day, and that is whether you have 5 minutes, an hour, or even want to dedicate a whole week to the celebrations.
Now, every year in the UK, we choose a different theme for Safer Internet Day. Previous years have included important topics such as reliability online, consent, online identity, and last year we focused on change, including looking at generative AI. This year, after consulting children and young people and hearing about what they are seeing and experiencing, Safer Internet Day will be focusing on scams online. Our strapline is "Too good to be true," protecting yourself and others from scams online. We hear from young people all the time about scams they've spotted, and so we want to assess the real scale of this issue and allow young people to share their experiences and ideas on how to tackle the problem. We'll build on the important work being done to raise awareness of issues such as online financial sextortion, and we'll also consider the future of scams, answering questions such as how is changing technology like generative AI going to impact the approach of scammers? What role can the government and internet industry take to tackle this threat? And what changes would young people like to see to help protect themselves moving forwards? Now, on this screen, you can see a word cloud generated from some of the terms used in our focus groups whilst developing the theme for this year. It's been very clear from the start that young people's experiences of this issue are really varied, but that they are being exposed to increasingly sophisticated methods. We've heard stories from children about phishing scams, scams encouraging investment in cryptocurrency, gaming scams, and there were quite a few mentions of fake tickets to things like Taylor Swift's Eras tour. Young people also told us not only about their concerns for themselves, but for their parents, carers, and grandparents, who they know may be victims of scams as well. We really hope this theme will resonate across generations and allow for some fantastic conversations at home as well as in schools. We want to share internet safety messages, advice, and techniques that young people and those that support them can use to make the most of their time online in a safe, enjoyable, and supportive way. We also want to give people the skills they need to spot scams online, as well as ways to report when they've been victims of a scam too. So hopefully we've sold you on the theme. I'd now like to introduce to you Dana Henderson, who is one of the development officers for Edinburgh Learns Digital, and is going to share a little bit about what digital teaching and learning looks like in Edinburgh, her experiences of participating in Safer Internet Day previously, and plans for Safer Internet Day 2025 in Edinburgh.
Hi there. Thank you so much for having me along today. Just to share what we do here in Edinburgh. We've been using the Safer Internet Day resources here for some time now, so it's really a pleasure to be given this opportunity just to share what it looks like. And because in Edinburgh schools, digital learning is a really intrinsic component of effective learning and teaching here. We try to just ensure that all learners are digitally capable, so that they can create, communicate, and collaborate digitally, transforming their learning opportunities and enabling access to a broader curriculum and more flexible pathways that we provide here. As part of that, we've got a team of development officers and we work to support a set of learning communities. So whether that's through tailored training that all the teachers can sign up for, or if it's like a particular area of development for them, they can get themselves signed up. Just to give you an idea, because I'm aware I'm speaking to lots of people in lots of different areas in Scotland, we've got 123 schools in total, and it's made up of 23 learning communities. So our team have been allocated to 4 of those each, and we work really closely with them to support them with their digital teaching and learning. So each school has a digital learning coordinator who's their main contact for support. So all primary 1 to 5s have access to an iPad here in Edinburgh, and that stays in the classroom with a 1 to 5 ratio. So I know that we're really lucky here. And primary 6 onwards, all the way up to S6, they've got one-to-one devices that go home once the children and their parents have engaged with what's called homeschool agreements and responsible use agreements. We've also got packs that we supply to support parents to get on board and let them have access to how that can support that high quality teaching and learning as well. On those iPads, we've got a curated set of apps that support the children to become leaders of their own learning, encouraging differentiation. They've got accessibility tools and, of course, enjoyment as well. The pupils can obviously personalise their device too, and that just suits their own individual learning needs, of which there are many. So I've highlighted these because we're really aware that the devices we've put in the hands of our young people are not the only devices that they have. So it's our responsibility to support them to navigate their online world safely with their own devices that they might have, such as their phones or their tablets. The way that we've built the curriculum here in Scotland and planned for young people, it has to align with the research that's already out there. And much of it is updated so fast and so regularly, and it's quite tricky to keep on top of. So we keep on top of it for them, and then we provide CLPL to take a closer look at these, particularly at the points of the year when the teachers are looking ahead to work with maybe a new year group that they're unfamiliar with or haven't worked with for a little while. We particularly like this one. We're often referencing the children and parent media use attitudes online. But the Digital Childhood Report, the 5 Rights Foundation one, is one that we often refer to as well. But even just speaking to Ed Scotland, Ed Scott this week, we found even more bits of research that we'll be sharing with our communities. So one of my main roles within my team is cyber resilience and internet safety, which here in Scotland we often refer to as CRIS. So this currently sits within the digital literacy organisers, with cyber resilience being associated with the device itself and the threats that they might then be encountered by the device's ability to access the internet. Internet safety is more looking at the health and well-being side of things, how they represent themselves online, being kind online, and so on and so forth. So we're really keen to support schools to support their young people to navigate the online world, but also to support schools, to support parents, to support their children to be safe on the online world. So looking at the Edinburgh picture, and I'm aware it's going to look really quite different across the board. Obviously, we use Safer Internet Day. We find everything is really up to date. It's often the thing that kickstarts our schools. It's something to hang their hat on throughout the year, act as a jumping point. But we also, as I was talking here, I'm part of the Edinburgh Learns Digital team. We provide those CLPL opportunities that are more tailored towards the needs of everyone at the other end, building CRIS themes into their timetable, supporting schools to support parents, just general children and young people online. We also use the RSHP programme here in all our non-denominational schools, and they've got some really good resources on there as well, which are age appropriate. I'll just go on to the next slides. We also have, if it should hopefully come on up in a sec. Maybe. There we go. So we've also got, I think, I wonder if we could go to the one with the chicken on it. You'll see what I mean. Is it working?
Sorry, Dana, I can see the chicken.
Oh, can you? Okay, well, I'll just talk as if you can see the chicken. I've got a different thing on my screen just now, so there is a reason that the chicken is there. We have a digital chicken that we call the digital check-in. Something we really encourage our schools to do is just have those regular check-ins, whether it's through Soft Start, Morning Start, those kind of things, just so we can kind of get a bit of a lay of the land. So that if you're wondering why the chicken is there, that's why it's there. So the number of resources to support CRIS themes is it's often really overwhelming. So we provided a space to support that forward planning. It's regularly updated to reflect the needs of our young people and our teachers. And we're also working at the moment on digital literacy progression pathways, which will just have recommended resources at each stage, including some Minecraft education things, Sphero and microbit activities, or these are things that we know our schools have. So we want to make sure that things that we supply are things that can actually be used at the other end. Our team are also working on digital learning units as well, and that just to support in these areas, and they're intrinsically linked with those CRIS, E's and O's. So then we'll go on to the Safer Internet Day ones. I don't know if I think I'm seeing a slightly different thing from you, but that's okay. So here, onto the Safer Internet Day side of things, obviously that's one of the resources that we share on our page, but the day itself can really act as a point of evaluation for schools. We're quite vocal about Safer Internet Day, not just being one day, that it can be used as like a pivot point or a jumping point. But actually Safer Internet Day themes should and could be embedded throughout the whole school year. What it's really good at is just providing a new talking point for schools, depending on the theme. It gives us up-to-date resources and provides that data for the age groups that we're working with, as well as just really pick-upable stuff that every age and stage can use. We always really appreciate that. But the thing we find in Scotland, as I'm sure many of you on the call are noticing, Safer Internet Day often falls on the February break, which can be a little bit frustrating for us because we want to take part. So what we have done this year is we're providing live lessons, live assemblies, I should say, for all levels. So they're going to be able to tune in the week before for primary 1 to 3s, primary 4 to 7s, and we're doing a recorded version for the older ones so they can dip into it because of their timetables. We just really want to make sure that people have the chance to actually engage all as one, because it's all very well going on and using those resources, but when you know you're doing something at the same time as someone else, across the city, it's just a really nice way of doing things. And we've also got our Friends over at Digital Schools Award. That's one of the main things that we get our Edinburgh schools here to use. But he's going to be speaking at a webinar on the 19th of February, where he's going to hopefully get those schools just over that hurdle of applying for a Digital Wellbeing Award. It just provides a really nice framework to make sure your school is where it's at in terms of cyber resilience and internet safety in your school. We're also going to be providing CLPL within the month of February to support schools, to support parents and carers, because really that's where the support should lie, is actually no one knows your community better than you. So we want to provide schools support to support the parents and carers. I think that's me, but thank you. I think I rabbited on, gone well off script, but I'll pass back over. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dana. And I'm so sorry we were having issues with the slides there. I'm hoping that everybody at home is able to see the slides. Do let us know if there's any issues there. And just as a reminder, Dana will be around for the Q&A later on as well. So if there's any questions that you have for Dana, please do submit those there. We really appreciate you taking the time to come and contribute to the session today. So that kind of leads us into sharing some of the downloadable activity packs that we have produced at the UK Safer Internet Centre for the day. You can find all of those resources for free on the Safer Internet Centre website. The page, when you land on it, will look just like this, and you're going to need to click on the tab labelled Education Resources that you can see across the bottom of the screenshot there. As in previous years, we have provided 4 sets of resources, so each one is designed for working with a different age range. We have 3 to 7s, 7 to 11s, 11 to 14s, and 14 to 18s. And each pack includes instructions and resources for 4 adaptable activities, including a quiz, plus an assembly. So let's take a look at the resources. What I'm going to do is go through pack by pack along with Rosie, although I will say we don't have time to cover every activity, but I would really recommend sticking around and listening to the full session, because all of the activities we are going to talk about are designed to be adaptable. So even those packs that are designed for older or younger children than the learners you work with may still have something that you kind of want to try out. And as a reminder, we'll be finishing up the session today with the Q&A as well. So When you download each pack, you will find 4 documents which are numbered and named for ease of use. And I would recommend starting with the PDF, which lists all of the different activities for that age range, and it is helpfully labelled document number 1. This document starts with an overview of the theme and some general information about participating in Safer Internet Day, including advice about establishing a safe and supportive learning environment or responding to child protection concerns. Further then through this document, you will reach the activity overviews, and I've got an example of one of those on the screen in yellow. At the top of each activity, you will find an approximate running length and learning objectives, along with a list of everything that you're going to need to deliver it, which includes a reference to supporting slides. And if they're needed, you will be able to find those in the PowerPoint, which is document number 2 in your download. I also wanted to mention that whilst in previous years we have provided activities specifically for learners with additional support needs, this year we've taken a slightly different approach. So we've made suggestions for every activity across the packs on how it could specifically be scaffolded or adapted for learners with those additional needs. So let's start with the 3 to 7s, and as you can expect, the key messages at this age are straightforward and really focus on simple concepts that we would anticipate children at this age are kind of already familiar with, so things like trusted adults, seeking help, and personal information. We do have some activities that show examples of scams, but there is certainly no expectation on practitioners to kind of explicitly use that language, and we would actually really encourage you to meet learners where they are. So if you only had 15 minutes, I would recommend the big picture activity, which you can see on the screen. And this activity features 3 characters, Pip, Dom, and Zach. And the idea of this activity is to either print or display the pictures that you can see here, and then ask learners to describe what they think is happening. So as well as being an opportunity to develop language and storytelling skills, this activity can be a really good initial assessment tool to kind of explore what the young people already know about this issue and their level of recognition of what's going on. Another activity in the 3 to 7 pack is this one. It's one of the easiest ones to kind of make your own. So for starters, it's actually 2 activities in one. It is a sorting game and a matching game. And the objective of this activity is about identifying examples of personal information. So for learners who might already be familiar with what personal information is, we would suggest the sorting activity, where they sort the cards between what is and is not safe to share. And then the matching activity is slightly simpler and uses cards that only show personal information, so the children can really familiarise themselves with those examples. And then the final activity that I'll show you for the 3 to 7s is a quiz, and it is also on a theme that we know lots of settings kind of already cover with this age, and that is of course trusted adults. It comes with a short accompanying slide deck, and it kind of indicates who children should talk to if they have a problem or a worry, specifically when they're using technology. Now, every pack for all of the different age ranges does include a quiz, and what I wanted to share is that we have provided these in 2 different formats. So firstly, you can find them as a clickable interactive quiz on the UK Safer Internet Centre website. So if you wanted to, you could just pop this straight up on a screen in your classroom or something like that and work through it with a group, and you'll be given feedback on each answer as you go, and you get a final score at the end. But alternatively, we have also provided the questions and answers for the quizzes in a Word document format, which is document number 3 in the pack. And that's because we've had feedback from educators previously that they would have liked to adapt the quizzes to the software and platforms they're already using in school, things like Kahoot. So hopefully this makes this as easy as possible for you to do.
Amazing. So thank you for that, Amy. Our slides are being a little bit slow, I think, but as Amy said, all of this is so easily accessible online as well for you to take a look later too. So let's move on to the 7 to 11s now. In our focus groups for this age, the children were definitely familiar with the term scam and using it confidently to describe a range of things they were seeing online. So we've built on that existing knowledge with this acronym, which uses the word scam to help learners recall how they can spot the signs that something online might be trying to trick them, like seeming too good to be true, contacting them when they didn't expect it, like a random message or a pop-up, asking for personal information or money or even a trade. This activity is about applying those 4 signs of a scam to different scenarios. It's provided as a slide deck, which includes an introduction and definition at the start, and then a set of examples to work through. For each one, the idea is to ask learners to indicate which signs of a scam they think apply. This could be done by writing the relevant letters on a mini whiteboard or giving different groups the different signs and asking them to raise their hands if they think that their sign applies. Another one of our most adaptable activities for this age range is Protect Your Profile, which we can see up close here. This is provided as a PowerPoint slide, but could also be printed for learners to use as a worksheet. And the picture you see is essentially a risk spotting activity, providing lots of examples for further discussion. You could do this as a group or an independent task, and you could challenge learners further to see how many problems they could find or to focus on a particular one. Now, our final activity for this age range is one of my favourites, and it features the trustworthy trout, who you'll be able to see it on the screen. As you might have guessed, the activity focuses on a specific form of scam, that's phishing. It has lots of visual examples for learners to study and then feed to the trustworthy trout, but they have to be careful as scams will make him sick. We've tried really hard to provide a range of different examples here, and you could definitely repurpose these as a quick starter for lessons throughout the year, challenging pupils to spot the signs it's a scam, whilst also revisiting key messages to help embed and refresh their learning. So back over to Amy for our next pack.
Thanks, Rosie. And I'm really sorry that we seem to be having issues with the slides. Everything at my end is saying that it's sharing them correctly. What I might just do briefly is stop sharing and then reshare the slides and see if that fixes the situation, because I can see there's quite a few people in the comments who are still having some issues there. Okay, I don't know if that will have resolved it, but if not, what I'll do is I'll make sure that we get a copy of these slides saved, and we'll see if we can email those out to everyone who signed up afterwards. And as Rosie said, all of these resources are available on the UK Safer Internet Centre website, so you should be able to pick them up there. So we're now on to the 11 to 14 pack, and we will start with the activity that hopefully is on the screen for you, which is signs of a scam. Like the equivalent activity in the 7 to 11 pack, this has a range of different examples, and it challenges learners to explore the different clues that something might not be trustworthy. The examples here are all inspired by what we heard directly from young people in our focus groups and replicate kind of real techniques used by scammers online. We also introduce examples relating to investment and cryptocurrency, online shopping scams, and scams that might start out as catfishing. And if any of those terms do sound unfamiliar to you, or you're just a little less computer confident, remember that we provide accompanying teacher guidance for every activity that's going to explain those key terms and give you the answers for any that you are not sure on. So our next activity for this age range focuses on how young people can protect themselves from scams before, during, or after being targeted. We've provided 3 longer examples for this activity, and learners should explore what each character might do next. We've also got supporting action cards to help prompt responses, which you could give to learners straight away, or maybe later on only if they need a hint. And the action cards come as a full detailed set or a simpler streamlined set, kind of depending on the needs of your learners. And finally, on the screen, you can see that the resources for 11 to 14s introduce the issue of online financial sexual extortion, often referred to simply as sextortion. And you might be aware that this is a growing trend. It's been recognised by various organisations, including the UK Safer Internet Centre and the National Crime Agency. Now, sextortion is a crime, and of course, when it's targeting children, a form of child sexual exploitation. However, a lot of the signs of sextortion mimic the signs of a scam, and it is often financially motivated. Most importantly, it was recognised by the young people in our focus groups, so we did feel that it was an opportunity, Safer Internet Day was an opportunity to provide all of you with some resources and activities to raise awareness of this issue with learners. And it's also worth noting there is a very similar sextortion activity in the 14 to 18 pack as well. Now, we know that sextortion is a sensitive topic, so we've provided very clear teacher guidance and a slide deck so that you have a clear structure and wording on this issue to help feel really confident when you're addressing it.
Okay, thank you, Amy. So for the oldest age range, the 14 to 18s, we're suggesting the quiz as a quick activity. Remember, there is a quiz for every age range, but in this quiz, the questions are much more challenging and cover a lot of nuances, really focusing on different responses to scams. For these older learners, we really wanted to think about the additional risk that comes with that transition to adulthood and a time when young people may have more financial independence, a regular income, and bank accounts of their own. For this reason, the resources for this age have some more detailed case studies on a few specific types of scams. For example, there's money muling, where we know criminals often target young adults and university students, that appears in the quiz alongside a pyramid scheme example and an investment scheme example. Now, for this activity, we have some further examples, which you can see on the screen, are provided as a short narrative with accompanying questions. We've run this activity by splitting a class into smaller groups and asking them to focus on one of the case studies. And in this one, prompted by questions, they undertook some further research on the type of scam they were looking at and then shared their findings with the wider group. And one group even chose to incorporate drama into their presentation, which is one way that this activity could potentially be adapted as a whole in a similar way. So next up, we have an activity on victim blaming. And victim blaming is the suggestion that a victim of crime or abuse is somehow at fault or to blame for their experiences. Unfortunately, in our work in schools, we do hear a lot of victim blaming attitudes, often in relation to sexual harassment. So we were really interested as a team to also learn more about the role that victim blaming can play in relation to scams. As you can imagine, it's very easy to slip into language that inadvertently suggests that victims of a scam are to blame. Even that phrase, fallen for a scam, puts the responsibility on the victim, not the criminal perpetrator. So this activity aims to really unpick what victim blaming is and the impact it can have, and explores different examples like those that we can see on the screen, and asks learners to reflect on whether they're helpful or harmful things to say to a victim of a scam. Now, before I hand back across to Amy, a reminder that as well as a quiz, each pack includes an assembly. The assemblies introduce Safer Internet Day before focusing in on this year's theme of scams and the key messages of reporting and getting help. As in previous years, they include editable slides for you to add the name of your designated member of staff for child protection or other reporting routes specific to your setting. We also have top tips available on the UK Safer Internet Centre website for 7 to 11s, 11 to 14s, and 14 to 18s, plus parents and carers, and separate specific can't say that word anymore, top tips for parents and carers of 3 to 7s too. So there is something for everyone. These top tips would also be a great option if you wanted to share something with the parents and carers at home too. And I'll pass back over to Amy.
Thank you so much, Rosie. So that concludes our tour of the resource packs. I hope that that's been useful, and do download the resources yourself to see the things we didn't have time to cover, and so you can really explore what we've put together and find something that's adaptable for your setting. Now, I did also want to mention some fantastic resources which have been pulled together by the BBC. So if you head to the BBC Teach website, you can find all of these on their educational calendar under Safer Internet Day. And BBC will be hosting a live lesson for primary schools at 11 a.m. on Safer Internet Day. And also for primary schools, they have 2 short videos on scams and phishing, which have been specifically designed to work alongside all of the other resources. And those are both available with British Sign Language translation. So unfortunately, at the UK Safer Internet Centre, we've not been able to create any video resources to accompany the campaign this year. So we are really, really grateful that the BBC has created some fantastic resources that will certainly help fill that gap. And on that note, we do have a special request for any of you who are joining this webinar today. The UK Safer Internet Centre, as I mentioned at the beginning, is a partnership of 3 charities, and we rely on support and funding to be able to run this whole campaign and provide all of the materials that we've talked through today. So by registering as a supporter of the day, you can help us evidence the reach that the campaign has, which is really important to help secure that funding and mean that we're able to continue producing all of these resources for you for free. So please, please, please register your school as a supporter. We've actually changed the form from previous years, so you're no longer kind of required to tell us what your plans are for the day. So if you're not sure yet, you can still register. Your school will appear on our map showing supporters across the country, and you can finalise those plans and work out exactly what you're going to do a little bit further down the line.
Thank you, Amy. You can also show your support on social media. We'll be launching a full social media pack very soon, which includes suggested wording and lots of graphics. We'll be resharing and engaging with as many of you as possible on Safer Internet Day itself. So use the hashtag Safer Internet Day to keep an eye on our accounts and subscribe to our newsletters as well. And this is also your final reminder to submit any questions you would like us to answer before the session is finished. And whilst you're doing that, I would also like to introduce Scott Hunter from Education Scotland. Thanks, Scott.
Hi, thanks, Rosie. Hi, everybody, and welcome along to the webinar. It's been very informative of what's been happening across the country, and especially thanks to Dana at Edinburgh Learns. My name is Scott Hunter. I'm an Education Officer with Education Scotland, and my role is to support cyber resilience and internet safety. So, Education Scotland support Safer Internet Day, and I've been supporting Safer Internet Day for a number of years, and we have live lessons that take place on Safer Internet Day for younger learners to engage with, along with the Bongles and the Crafty Crows book, which has been issued to all Primary 1 pupils last year. Again, so we have a live read along with that book happening Safer Internet Day. If you want more information on that, go along to the Digital Learn Scot website and you'll be able to find all the information on what Education Scotland are doing for Safer Internet Day and any other learning and teaching resources you require to support cyber resilience and internet safety in your setting. We use the Safer Internet Day as a springboard to Cyber Scotland Week, which is the week at the end of February. And again, there'll be a suite of resources available for all learners during Cyber Scotland Week, which is the 24th of February. It starts Monday, the 24th of February. So we use Safer Internet Day to springboard our activities for the for Cyber Scotland Week. So I think that's us moving on to the Q&A. So if you want to put any of your questions in the Q&A and we can respond to them as and when required. I'll hand back over to Amy now.
Thank you so much, Scott. And yeah, really great to have you on board and really appreciate your support. And it sounds like there's some fantastic things going on across Scotland as well. And also thank you for that reminder to everyone watching to put any questions in the Q&A, because we are going to take those now for the remaining kind of 10 minutes of the slot that we had booked in. So whilst I open up the Q&A on my screen and have a look and see what we've had come in, I will also just signpost that on the screen we have a QR code which takes you to a very short evaluation for this session. So please do fill that out and help us kind of improve these webinars and what we can do and offer to support you in celebrating Safer Internet Day in Scotland in the future. Right, let me have a little look and see what I can find in our Q&A. So I can see lots of comments about the issues we were having with the slides earlier. So thank you for raising that. I'm hoping that we managed to fix it. Why do I need to upload a logo to register as a supporter? So I will double check with our comms team about whether that is a required thing that you need to do to register as a supporter. But it's probably worth flagging that registering as a supporter is something that we ask organisations to do rather than individuals. So I think asking for the logo is part of that, and it's so that your logo can kind of appear alongside all of the other schools and other organisations that have signed up as a supporter. I think I spotted a question that was for Dana about whether there was the possibility of getting the link to the live assemblies, and also big fans of the check-in/chicken.
Well, that's good. I like the digital chicken as well. It just reminds me to check in with the kids. But yeah, absolutely. If I put that in the chat, well, then you should be able to share that in the Q&A. Is that how that'll work? Because I don't have direct access to that.
Yeah, if you pop it in the chat, I will then
Perfect.
pop it in the as a discussion point on the Q&A. Yeah. And whilst we are getting that link ready to go, I can also see a couple of other questions. So a question about whether other charities and youth work organisations can use these resources too. Absolutely, the resources are available for free for absolutely anybody who would like to use them. We've even heard in the past of parents and carers picking up those resources and using them at home. So please do, whatever role you're in, if you're working directly with children and young people, or you have any kind of interaction with children and young people directly, please do pick them up and make the most of them. Right, I will pop this link in the discussion. Bear with me whilst I type that out. I'm afraid we're putting my multitasking skills to the test here. Right, there is that link which has gone away there. And can anybody else see any final questions? I feel like we might be wrapping up and coming to the end here. Okay, in that case, I will finish things up by saying thank you so much for joining us today. We really hope it has been useful, and we are really, really excited to see what this year's Safer Internet Day campaign kind of brings. And if you do just 3 things after today's session, please do check out the website and all of the resources available. Register as a supporter, and most importantly, make space for those conversations about life online with the children and young people you work with on Safer Internet Day. But as we've said a couple of times in the session, all year round, it's about that springboard moment that is going to keep those conversations going and help make the internet a safer place. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming. Have a lovely evening. I will do one final double check, but I really appreciate you all spending this evening with us, and we look forward to seeing what you get up to for Safer Internet Day. Thank you, everybody. Have a lovely evening.